is section 2.4, which is multiplying and dividing integers. Thankfully, these two have the same rules, so that's pretty handy, isn't it? It's a little bit bigger. I can get it. It's not near as, for me, it's not near as confusing as adding and subtracting. Because no matter what the values of the numbers are, and it also spans all of the kinds of numbers. Right now we're just into integers, but when you multiply and divide all real numbers, these rules apply. And hopefully you're enjoying this little refresher from your past math experience about basic operations with numbers. So when the signs are the same, and here we're assuming you're only multiplying two numbers at a time, okay? Because a multiplication is a binary operation, so you can only multiply two numbers at a time. Like you can't multiply 8 times 9 times 12 all at once. You have to multiply them two at a time. So when the signs of the numbers are the same, the answer is positive. It's like division. You can't divide 27 by 2 by 3. You've got to divide it only two at a time. So that's why we just say the numbers. And then when the signs are different, no matter whether it's the first factor or the second factor, whether it's the dividend or the divisor, we have different signs. The answer is negative. Oh, I didn't even spell answer correctly. The answer, I get in a big hurry, is negative. So what if you have more than two to do in a story problem? Well, you just have to do them two at a time. But the cool thing is, if you're watching the signs, and if you have a product of more than two numbers, product's the answer to a multiplication problem. So if you're multiplying more than two numbers, an even number of factors, oh, I shouldn't even say factors, an even number of signs give a positive answer. So let's say you have 5 numbers, 2 of them are positive, or 2 of them are negative, 3 of them are positive, your answer is still positive. Let me give you an example when that happens. Okay, 3 times 2 times a negative 4 times a negative 2. You can determine right now your answer is positive. So you could just multiply. 3 times 2 is 6. 6 times 4 is 24. 24 times 2 is 48. You know your answer's positive. Or you could have done 6 times 8. Multiplication is all about, you can rearrange it in any order and nobody gets hurt. Division's a little different question. Division is 2 at a time. So when you're having a negative number divided by a positive number, they might write it like this. Then your answer is a negative 6. One negative gives you a negative answer. So when you have an odd number of signs, you won't get lost in the, this is a little shortcut. Odd number of signs give a negative answer. And this, I think we applied it a little bit with powers. When you were using order of operations, and some of your order of operations, I think in a practice, there were negative numbers, like a negative 2 to the 3rd power. That's, your answer is going to be a negative, because negative 2 to the 3rd power is negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2. You see how there's an odd number of negatives? You've got the result. So remember that. Okay, there's some other sneaky snakes. If I take negative 1 times any number, it's the opposite of what you see. That's just a rule when you have a negative outside a number, product, problem, situation. It's the opposite of your answer. Let me see if I can find a good example of that. It doesn't have it. Oh, okay. What's a negative 1 times negative 14?
Positive 14.
Yep. And sometimes they write it like this, right? Like that. So that would be the same result, a positive answer. So watch out for the negative 1, sneaky snake. And here is the 0 property of multiplication and division. You take 0 times anything, what do you get? 0. That's right. Anything. That little a is any number. You get a 0 out. But if you divide 0 by anything, I'm going to call it K.
Oh, it's Junior.
You're going to get 0.
So, Junior.
Good morning. Thank you. I called you in absence, so I'll ring you back.
You're right here, by the way.
Okay. Thank you. And I'm videotaping notes for today. It's multiplication and division of integers.
That's code right there, bro.
Okay. Oh, you notice this little. Okay, you guys are working hard on your homework. Thank you. Notice this little shortcut. If you're dividing 0 by a number, it's okay. That's why I use the letter K. But if you have 0 on the bottom of a division problem, or you're dividing by 0, that's a no. You cannot do that. That is undefined. I love that little nonsense way to remember. You can divide 0 by anything, but you cannot divide by 0. So the answer to this, I don't know how they want you to put it in the computer. You'll have to read their examples. I don't know if you're going to put undefined, if you put NA, and I'm running out of room to write my word here.
Undefined.
So if you write down anything for the notes, put down okay equals 0, no is undefined. So what does it look like side by side? OK is 0, N 0 is undefined. Okay. So that's probably going to be the toughest one. I see it all the time. People forget you cannot divide by 0. I don't know how many they're going to throw at you in the homework, but be ready. So there's the rules. Have some fun. We've got a couple more left in this section before we can test.
What?